Hey y'all. Please tell me if you can hear me and hear me well because I got a setup that's a little different. So if you can hear me and hear me well, give me the thumbs up emoji because I'm gonna really need it. It's my first time using this equipment that I have. Let me scoot this forward a little bit. Yeah, there we go. Hey y'all. I see some people in here. Tell me if you can hear me now. You feel me? Somebody said wait impatiently. Yeah, my bad for starting a little late. It was a lot going on today. The electric company had to come out because ravens built a nest on the power lines and it caused the power to go out. So I was dealing with that earlier today, and telling them what to do and yeah. But anyway, yes. Okay, good. So the sound quality is good. Um I'm looking at these levels and everything. All right, perfect. Okay, yeah. Somebody said ironic. I know it's crazy, huh? Thank you so much, Urban. What does that say? Oh, that doesn't say Urban. It says you can't handle the truth. Oh one says check out Erica's music slash playlist. Her music is amazing. It's refreshing with an old school vibe, as well as being deep and relatable. I recommend Goes to the Next Room, Out the City, or Top Drawer. Thank you so much. I appreciate the love, you guys. I really do. My apologies for not going live this last week. It was Mother's Day, and I was doing a lot, you feel me? Because I wanted my mom to have a really good time. And someone said, "You cut your hair." Yes, I cut my hair like almost a month ago. And I love it. I love having short hair. It's so easy to deal with and my hair just feels healthier. But I want to stay on topic. For anybody that might be tuning in for the first time, I hate when people be doing videos and it take them like 10 minutes to get into what they talking about. It's like, can you just go get on with it? And I don't want to be one of them people. So I'm glad you guys can hear me. Let me set a goal. Because I started a little late, I didn't get to put my comment on there, but you guys have told me previously to put my website and my Cash App in the comments. Also, super chat is always available. I normally set a super chat goal, but I don't have time for that today. Um, you know, so yeah, know that that's the thing that you guys can do if you want to support my channel, support the live. I greatly appreciate it. You just being tapped into the vibe is always good enough for me. But, if you do want to go a little step further, I will appreciate that as well. The title of this live is let me make sure I spelled everything correctly and let me pin this comment. The title of this live is I forgot. I do that every time. I forget. But it's about sinners. Has sinners taught us nothing? That's what the title of this live is. Because Sinners came out, right? And I've been wanting to talk about this for some time now because I saw it and then I went and saw it again with my homegirl because I felt like I needed to see it um a second time to really like dissect things because I hate scary movies, you guys. I'm just gonna tell you that right now. I cannot stand scary movies. I detest scary movies with a passion. You know what I'm saying? And so I never go see them, but I wanted to see this movie because I wanted to support the people that made it, and I feel like when stuff like this happen in our communities, we should rally behind it, even if it's not something that we personally, like, are interested in, but yeah, so I wanted to see it regardless. But, it wasn't even that scary, I did have a what happens to me when I watch scary movies, which is at night, I be thinking about it, I looking out the window, think I see a vampire out there, or, you know it's crazy. That's why I don't like watching scary movies because it messes with my mind weeks later, you know? But yes, thank you, moderators that are in the live, Kate, TMT. I appreciate you being here. And the familiar, I won't say faces, but the familiar handles that I see in here that are always in the live. I appreciate you guys being here as well. Um, but yeah, so scary movies be scaring me, which I know is this the point, but I don't like being scared, you know. But this movie I went to go see, and the reason being is I'm just gonna get into it. I really like the movie a lot, and I want to see what you guys have to say about it. So in the comments, tell me what y'all thought about it if you guys saw it. And if you haven't saw the movie, you need to go see it. I'm about to spoil it. Okay. So this is where the camera. This is spoiler alert right away. I'm about to talk about it. So if you don't want to be spoiled, don't be in the comments like, oh, how come you said that? I told you right now. You feel me that this is what's going on. I'm spoiling it. Okay. We about to get into the nitty gritty. So if you ain't prepared, then you need to go on and watch it and come back to the live later. Okay. Belita Soul, I cannot read today. Belita Glow Soap and Candles said, I would give it an 8. I loved Annie. I loved Annie too. That's one of the things I wanna talk about in this movie when it comes to this movie. Now, the movie starts out, the main character is Sammy, right? He, is a musician who could play the guitar, play the blues, and he could sing. He got such a wonderful velvety chocolate deep voice. Oh, I love voices like that. Voices like that, Sammy, his type of voice, Nat King Cole type of voice, Sarah Vaughan type of voice. These are the voices that just feel like when you hear them, you know what they make me think of? It make me think of being by the fireplace with the person that you love and they holding you tight and you can feel just the warmth from their body all up on your body. And it's just warm. Even though the world is cold outside, you sitting by the fireplace, it might be snowing or something, but you warm. You feel that warm, and it's like drinking hot chocolate where you feel the warm on the outside of your body from being held, and then the warm on the inside of your body from something good and hot, some good hot food going inside. That's what I mean when I say they got a warm voice. Warm voice like Sammy, right? Now, what I wanted to take away from the fact that, like, a lot of people are drawn to they're drawn to the music. You feel me? It doesn't matter what race you are. It doesn't matter what culture you come from. Good music is good music. If you love music, that's how you feel. Like me as a person who is a musician, as the person who said it at the beginning of the live in the comments, when you really love music, it doesn't matter. There's all sorts of genres of music that I like. I don't just stick to R&B, soul, rap, and hip hop and jazz, those so-called black genres, because we invented a lot of genres. I love rock and roll. I love classical music. I love all sorts of music, you know what I'm saying? But you come and you wanna be a part of the vibe, and I mirrored that to the music industry that we have today, you know what I'm saying? There's greatness in what we create as a people, and our soul comes from the stories that we had to live through. A lot of the times when you hear music and the music really move you, the person might not even be the best vocalist on earth, you know what I'm saying, or the best singer or whatever, but it's the fact that what they say resonates with you. For example, SZA, she is not like a Whitney Houston type singer, but when I tell you, it's been several times I've been listening to her music and it hit me right in the chest because I felt everything she was saying. Not only was the lyrics there, but it's the emotion behind the voice. I could tell she meant what she was saying, and she was going through it of whatever time that she wrote it. And, I feel the same way as someone mentioned earlier. I got a song called Top Drawer, and that song is literally about me finding some other woman's panties in the drawer of my boyfriend's stuff. I wrote about it because that was the only way I could deal with the pain of what I discovered. You know what I'm saying? My ex-boyfriend, of course, not together no more. But yeah, so like the music aspect is a big deal. And I feel like we shouldn't take that lightly. Like when we see it on film and just in the world as a whole. Like the generation of a whole is shaped by the music and the media of that society. You know what I'm saying? And Tank made a really good point. If you guys remembered, right? If you guys remember what Tank said, he was talking about Sam Smith's song, that song Stay With Me. It's a beautiful song, you know what I'm saying? And he was talking about how we can't have music like that. Like that song was very popular. It was on the charts. Everybody listened to it. It was beautiful. But it's not too often that you get like a soft love ballad from us. I mean, we make that kind of music, but it's not going to be on top of the billboards. The type of music that charts for us is some get another round, my blank pink, my booty hole brown. You guys know what I'm talking about. Like, that's the kind of stuff that go viral in our communities, and the type of stuff that is shaping the minds of the generations to come. And not to say that that music, I don't personally like it, but there are people that do, and I feel like there's a place for certain music, certain raunchy music, but there also needs to be a balance. In our societies, we don't have a balance. We don't have a balance of the two. They're not accurately represented. And that's my issue with it, because we can't stop that kind of music from being made. But, I mean, and some people might like it. Sometimes you might want to dance a shimmy to something like that. You feel me? But we need a balance of it. But anyway, Sammy and his talents drew the vampires to them, right? Because we all know this is a vampire movie. Again, I'm talking about Sinners. The spoilers is in the caption. You feel me? It's literally on the title of the live. So don't be in here talking about, oh, you spoiled it. You should have seen it by now. It's been out for forever. But anyway, so that happens, and the twins that his cousins, the smokestack twins, they had started the juke joint and everything like that, and they was getting everything together for that night. Now, one of the things that I liked about that movie specifically that I really want to focus on, right, is something that is traditional vampire lore. One of the traditional vampire lores is that vampires can't just enter into your place. They have to be invited in, right? Now, I didn't know that that was traditional vampire lore when I saw the movie, so that hit me like, "Damn, they couldn't come in, even they powerful and stuff, they just can't bogart and run up in your place unless you invite them in." And then my homegirl was like, because the second time I saw it with my homegirl. She was like, "Well, that's traditional vampire lore." I didn't know that, but I like I've seen several vampire movies, and I never knew that, or at least that fact was never acknowledged in the movies that I saw, you know? Maybe the people were going into places where the vampires already were, which is why they didn't have to ask for permission. But I liked in this particular movie that that was emphasized, and that's the point that I wanna focus on the most. I know a lot of you guys were in the comments like, "Oh, Eric, are you gonna talk about black men falling for white women and all that kinda stuff?" No, I'm not gonna tell y'all who to be with, you feel me? Or nothing like that. That ain't my thing. Now, I'm a advocate of black love, but if whatever y'all wanna do, y'all wanna do. If y'all wanna get your passports and go on some other country, go. Do what makes you feel happy. Ain't nobody stopping you. I don't be looking crazy at men, black men that's with other races of women. Do what you want, but my takeaway from this movie is the invitation. You know what I'm saying? There are gonna be other people and other things that come around and see what we have, see the culture that we built, see the beauty in what we create, even if we don't see it. Because it's always, let me talk right here. It's always us that's saying, what culture? What culture do we have? You know, they're talking about stealing our culture. We don't have culture. Our culture is just drugs, gangs, and all that. And while we sitting up debating with each other about whether or not we have culture, the rest of the world is monetizing and benefiting from our culture while we debating about whether or not we got it, just because there's some aspects of it that we don't like, as it is with every culture in existence. You don't think that other races of people have aspects of their culture that they'd rather not bring up? We ain't even gonna get into the Jewish culture in the Talmud and what's up in there that I bet a lot of them don't want nobody to know about. 'Cause that's crazy. But I'm not gonna get into that right now. You feel me? The point I'm making is this: there is a lot that goes into our culture, and we often invite people in. To tie it into today, when the movie first came out, when Sinners first came out, it was a lot of people that was talking about that aspect that, the vampires had to be invited in, and initially in the movie, the smokestack twins did not let those white people in. When the white people came to the juke joint talking about, we just want to have a good time, play our music. When they originally came, Smoke specifically was like, nah, go on about your business. I don't want to have nothing to do with it. Stack was like, well, if they got money, and see, that's the thing. A lot of times people are invited into our culture because we think that they may have something, especially with the music industry. They dangle what you want directly in front of your face and make it hard for you to resist, especially if you came from nothing. You know what I'm saying? But in the movie, they did not allow them white people in, right? Now it was the girl that was white passing that had to go out and see what they was talking about because they was it was the money that was drawing them and motivating them. And when she came back, she had got bit and the whole thing went to hell after that, as we know, right? Now, the point I want to focus on is the invitation. We invite so many people in, and the rhetoric around the movie when it first came out was like, you see how we got to stop inviting people to the cookout. And a few weeks ago, some of you guys may have been in there when I did the live that said, no more cookouts. We got to stop inviting people to the cookout. Explaining everything about our culture. What does it mean when a black person say this, or like, what does it mean when they say this? It's none of your business what we mean. But it's always gonna be one or two or a few black people that explain. well, this is exactly what we mean when we say this because I want you to feel, it's so weird. Other people's culture, they have their inside jokes. I don't know what they talking about. And if I try to know, it's like, they might tell us if they think you cool, but they not just gonna give it away for free. Like they be vetting other people before they just let them in. But we don't do that. We just open the door and let people in. Now, speaking of, let me acknowledge the super chat real quick. From Henry God. Henny God. I'm telling you guys, I can read, I really can. It's just this light is directly in my face. It's okay though. It's fine. Henny guys, he just gave me a blue heart. Thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate the super chat. You guys can feel free to do the same if you want. And then I'm gonna look into some of these comments. I just want to get off what I'm trying to say so I don't lose my train of thought. You know what I'm saying? Um, yeah, and I'm gonna get back into it. But anyway, the point I'm making is this. The invitation is something that we're always giving out to people. And I was thinking maybe we're getting somewhere. Black people were on code for the most part when Variety put out that article that centers had a long way to go before it became profitable. We said, "Oh, bet." And we went to the movies and we saw it several more times just to make sure it was profitable, just to make sure that it made the money that we wanted it to make. And because it was also a really good movie, I thoroughly enjoyed it. However, shortly after that happens, there's an explosion of like us inviting people into our culture who didn't even ask to be in it. I don't know if you guys are on TikTok, but I am. I be on TikTok because that's where, a lot of stuff be happening on TikTok first and then it permeates over into Twitter and Instagram and every other social media platform until it lands on Facebook 5 years later. But, you know, what I saw on TikTok was this idea that all gingers are black, right? Now, where my phone? Here it is. This idea that all gingers are black, right? And I know a lot of stuff be jokes. And then there was this other thing when the Pope died and the new Pope was instated, and it said that he had some like black in him from way back hundreds of years ago from his mom and him or whoever. And there's so many people like, oh, we got the first American Pope and he black. And we always be so ready to call people black or invite them in. And that's why I asked, have we learned nothing from sinners? Always inviting people, always handing out cookout invites. I just want to pull up for you guys so you can see. This is my phone here. Open up TikTok. Hold on before the volume pop on hella loud. I had saved a couple of videos and I'm gonna get skilled enough to where I can put like the video on the screen and all that kind of stuff. I don't know how to do that. At least not yet. You feel me? While I'm going live. Let me go to my saved videos. But yes, so I'm not gonna play y'all the whole video, but I'm just gonna show y'all some of the things that was said around gingers being black and the reasoning behind it. And it was several white people. Okay, so you just want to load hella slow that were saying certain things, right? Let me get into here's one video. You guys can hear this. Oh yeah, because we don't want any sound playing. Sorry, I don't know if you guys heard that. It probably connected automatically to the Bluetooth on the thing. And that's not what I was trying to do, which is why the sound wasn't playing.
Treated growing up, like as an 8-year-old in public school for having ginger hair, like the way that I would come home from school in tears, the way that I would come inside from playing with the neighbor kids outside in tears, just because I was a ginger, bruh, the way that I put up with years of bullying throughout elementary school because I was a ginger. You should hear the things that people say about me. You should.
Oh my gosh. Who would have thought? Who would have thought that a couple years of bullying in school would equate to over 400 years of slavery, segregation, colonization, redlining, police brutality, unfair housing practices, urban deserts, school to prison pipelines. See, do you see what happens when we be inviting people in? Do you see this? We say for some dumb reason, Ginger people were so-called alienated because they had ginger hair, right? Ginger white people. And so some ridiculous black person gonna say, well, all gingers are black because they understand what it feels like to be alienated. Yeah, sure. Having red hair is equivalent to experiencing hundreds and hundreds of years of slavery, genocide, rape, colonization, molestation, all the things that are currently going on today. And it's like we've learned nothing. Soon as sinners come out. And I feel like the main takeaway for me was be careful of who you invite into your spaces. Be mindful of who you invite into your spaces, and not just invite in, but even be around certain people because they might mean you no harm and come in and mess up everything. All them people died at the end of the movie. Everybody except Sammy. Everybody at that juke joint dead as a doornail. You know what I'm saying? But shortly after Sinners comes out, these all gingers are black trends. And then you got white people that's like, yeah, you know what? I was bullied in school for having ginger hair. Bruh, the things that people said about me, the things that they said and how they made me feel because I had red hair. Oh my gosh. We need to start rallying, marching in the streets. Ginger lives matter. How many gingers have been shot and killed by the police? Man, this is a thing. We might need to look further into this. Wow. Who knew that they were oppressed just like us? But I see somebody in the comments saying red heifer. It's not even her fault. You know what I'm saying? She's just responding to the nonsense that we doing. Look at this. And now a black man gonna pop on, right? Let me get back out of this video. Hold on. Black man gonna pop in, gingers being black, right? See, I hate how y'all take a cute, harmless training and then turn it into something else. Like, why is it always someone who can't just let black joy exist without turning it into a joke? Like, I don't understand. Make it make sense to me. Like, how you gonna get on here and be like, I'm black because I'm a ginger, and then proceed to start mocking black stereotypes like it's comedy album? And then have the audacity to wonder why black people hesitate to invite you in, to welcome you in. Y'all be wanting to be invited to the cookout so bad, but then turn around and clown the culture that built the table. I don't get it. I get it. You know what? How it makes sense to me? He said, I don't get it. Make it make sense. It makes a lot of sense. We keep inviting people in. What did you expect was gonna happen? We start calling ginger black people, and then they be like, "Yeah, you feel me? I'm black, bruh, because you know what happened to me? I was oppressed. I might as well change my name from Sharon to Shaniqua." What did you expect was gonna happen? You know what I'm saying? We get all confused and oh well, why are they doing this to us? Because we stupid, because we're dumb, and we don't learn nothing. We never learn from our mistakes. How many times do we hand out cookout invites to people? And I already told y'all about this cookout. Ain't no cookout. The cookout is canceled because a lot of y'all ain't even got the recipes anymore. We trying to have cookouts. What y'all gonna be serving at them cookouts? I saw a post last year, Thanksgiving, and it was a whole bunch of people in the comments talking about eggs don't belong in macaroni and cheese. I don't even want to go to y'all cookout because you done lost the recipes. So many hands done got into the recipes that y'all don't know what the hell y'all doing. Of course, eggs go in macaroni and cheese. But that's neither here nor there. It's infuriating that people don't know that though. Who's cooking? Who's making good food? Who's baking peach cobblers and making dough from scratch? I don't want to go see y'all cookout. They're talking about white people having raisins in the potato salad. It's gonna be black people with raisins in the potato salad. The rate we going, losing recipes, letting folk come in, water stuff down, calling people black just because they got their feelings hurt once when they was in elementary school. Let me read some of the comments because I haven't even gotten into the Pope issue, calling him black. You guys, like, we have to stop being so desperate for white acceptance that we like let people into our spaces to our own demise. You feel me? Like, what's so bad about, I won't even phrase it like that. Like, why are you so insecure about the greatness of our blackness that you feel the need to let other people and invite other people in? You know what I'm saying? When something is good, you don't have to beg people to come be a part of it. Oh, I'm inviting you to the cookout. I'm coming to, like, no. Folks want to be involved, but because it's good and it's fire and it's exclusive, you don't just get dibs on it all the time. Because then when you do that, it waters it down. It waters down whatever it is you think you have. My homegirl told me that about dating once. She said, if there was a mansion, like a beautiful mansion in somewhere off the coast of Malibu for sale, and it was only for sale for like, I don't know, $300,000. Knowing that it should cost a few million, you would think, must be something wrong with that mansion. Maybe the foundation is cracked. Why is it going for so cheap? All the houses around it are at least $9 million. This one is a 300,000. Something might be wrong with this mansion. And she told me that that's how I was treating myself, letting myself go for a low price, and not go by like having sex with a bunch of niggas because that ain't never been my type of time. But just entertaining men that just wasn't it. You feel me? Now that's another conversation for another day. But you know, people that get you for a discounted price or get into your space for a discounted price is never gonna respect you or the space because they didn't have to work for nothing. So they don't think you're valuable. Why should I have to try and put forth any effort to work when you don't value yourself? Clearly, you set yourself for this low of a price. You don't value you, and we don't value you either. You inviting all of us to the cookout. You hoping that everybody show up to what you got going on. You don't value it, so why should we value it? Folks, black people on lives. I don't understand, man. We was doing a fun thing with the gingers, but now you guys are making fun of us and being stereotypes and blah blah blah. Of course. I mean, why wouldn't they? Anyway, let me look at some of the comments. You know what I'm saying? Uh, because I'm almost done. I've been talking for 26 minutes, and that's more than enough time for me to be saying the same stuff over and over again every week. Let's get exclusive and choosy. Okay, let me look at some of these comments. Let me see. Oh yeah, you guys were talking about the song. That was way up in the live. Let me see. I've been talking so much. Belita Glow Soap and Candle says, soon as someone do a dance or rap, we want to invite them to the cookout. Shake my head. Yeah, girl. It's ridiculous, isn't it? Um, let me see. More Than Ruby's ministry said, let us be on code. Exactly. T is focused said, how do you use TikTok without being tracked? I'm pretty sure I am tracked. You feel me? The same way I'm tracked in every area of my life. I don't know. I mean, I guess you guys can fixate on TikTok, but Instagram and YouTube and Google and everybody is stealing all your information the same way. But I mean, but do what you want. You feel me? I'm pretty sure I'm tracked on there. Same way I'm tracked on YouTube right now. The same webcam that I'm broadcasting, y'all, I'm sure the government tapped in. Not consistently, but just in case they got to pull their archives, gonna see what I was talking about. You know, I'm sure. So I'm not too concerned about that. I feel like they could look at me for whatever I'm doing. Like that movie Deja Vu. I feel like they could just peer in whenever they get ready. But that's neither here nor there. I'm not trying to get in the conspiracy theorist vibe. That's not what this live is about. Not today. Um, Gregory Calloway said black like Bill Clinton. Look, okay. Yes. And okay, so let's talk about Bill Clinton. Black like Bill Clinton. He could play the saxophone a little bit, right? Do a little with the saxophone. Do a little something. Everybody calling him black, and then he had a mistress. They was calling him black and all this other kind of stuff. You know what he did? You know what Bill Clinton did? Man. Oh, he shot us in the foot. While we sitting up calling him black, he's like, yeah, I'll let you niggas think that. Let me pass these bills that's gonna lock up your men for the rest of the foreseeable future. Anyway, let me get back into it. KTMT says, and who really cares if the Pope is part black? Look, I'm tired of people of us saying like because someone got a little speck, a drop of black in them, that they fully understand and are a part of the black experience. It's like you're not. You feel me? Let you stay over there and be used to what you grew up in. You know what I'm saying? Because there's some people that are all the way black and are not immersed into the black experience and black culture as a whole. And it's not to say that you don't belong, but just know that some stuff you ain't gonna get, even if you are black all the way. If you ain't immersed in black, I had a friend that didn't know nothing about black culture. Her family tried to keep it away from her because they was on some type of time that was like, they want her to be ghetto or whatever, you know. People can call me ghetto if they want to. I don't care. I'm a black woman, and that's what it is. You feel me? But regardless, her family didn't want her. So she didn't know nothing about black culture, didn't know the inside jokes and the movies and stuff and all that kind of stuff. And I was trying to get her hip and like tell her some movies and some stuff to watch so she can get immersed into the culture. But yeah, it's some people that, yeah, they might be black, but they don't understand our culture. And that is something that we have to understand and protect. There are people of other that come from other countries, black people that are African or wherever they come from, and it's not to say that they not black, but they might not understand our culture. And there's nothing wrong with that. The same way I don't understand theirs. Not to say that I dislike their culture or anything like that, but I just know that certain conversations that they have, I can go ahead and see my way out because I don't know nothing about that. I'm not gonna pretend like I do. I wish other people would give us the same kind of grace, but they don't. So, that's neither here nor there. Adam Burns says, I've noticed over the years, and especially in younger black boys and girls, let me see, a lot of black people got low racial self esteem. That is a phenomenal point, Adam Burns. Thank you so much for that comment. Yes, we have to start understanding the brilliance that is our blackness. And for myself, I'm going to say this because, like I said, I've been talking for 30 minutes. When I was first growing up, our family lived in South Central LA, right? Now, South Central Los Angeles in the 90s, aging myself. South Central LA in the 90s was just it was all black people. You feel me? I know some of it might be gentrified now, or they trying to gentrify Inglewood and and all that kind of stuff, right? But South Central LA, it was black. I went to LaSalle Elementary School, right? Right in the smack dab in South Central. And in LaSalle Elementary School, everybody was black. My teachers was black, my classmates was black, the principal, everybody. It was all black people. Then we moved. We moved out of Los Angeles and further up northeast into the Antelope Valley, right? Now, when we moved into the Antelope Valley, that's when stuff changed. It was a whole bunch of white people. You feel me? My teachers, my classmates. It was like me and maybe one or two other black people in my class. And so it was very different than what I had gotten used to as a child. And because of that, my dad saw this switch and he said, I don't want my children to grow up wanting to be white or to assimilate into this culture. So he said, what we're going to do is we're going to read the narrative of the life of Frederick Douglass together as a family. We're going to read a chapter a night, right? And so elementary school Erica is reading a chapter a night of the narrative of the life of Frederick Douglass with her family. And as we were reading, I internalized a lot of that. The lynchings that would happen, the beatings, how hard it was for us to be able to read, how they would put you to death for reading. They would kill you if you knew how to read back then because you weren't supposed to. And so what that made me do, this is to Adam Burns's point about having low racial, what do you say? Self-esteem. I don't want to misquote him. What do you say? Got low racial self-esteem. Yeah, this is to his point. Now, mind you, after we read that book, you guys think I'm militant now. Mm-mm. Elementary school me was ridiculous. Like, you know, I really internalized and I said, okay, they think that we stupid. They think you want to hide something from a black person, put it in a book. I'm about to be smarter than everybody up in here. Nobody will be smarter than me. Nobody will understand better than I'm excel up in here. And that's when I started getting put in gifted classes because I started excelling in school. In the third grade, I would be put into gifted classes and I wouldn't stop being in gifted classes until I graduated high school. You know what I'm saying? I started reading the dictionary for fun because I wanted to know as many words as possible. I wanted to be as articulate as I possibly could. And by the time I was in the fifth grade, I read at a college reading level. They used to do those tests, those accelerated reading tests. And but yeah, I purposed in my heart to be better than everyone else. You're not gonna think that you're better than me or that you're smarter than me or that you're more athletic than me or anything like that. I'm be better than everybody. And I was. I graduated middle school. I was awarded student of the year. Then I went into high school and took all honors and AP classes. You know what I'm saying? Because I felt very proud as a black person. Reading that as a child made me feel like we had some resilient ancestors to be able to endure all of that and still exist and be here. A lot of people have gone through stuff, and they might not be around anymore. They might not be as prevalent, but we took everything that they threw at us, the Middle Passage, slavery, Jim Crow, lynchings, all the things that they try to put on us. We were able to withstand it. And the only thing that's ever been able to harm is us. We are the only thing that could destroy us. You feel me? They could hurt us and do things to try to set us back. But as far as getting us up out of here, Can't nobody get us up out of here but us, which is why they work overtime on the psychological warfare of making us destroy ourselves, right? With drugs, alcohol, the music, the lack of relationship and trust within our communities. Because that's the only thing that can actually get us out of here. They can't do it. They tried. We too strong for that, you know? And then I learned about genetics and all that kind of stuff when I was in high school. And, I had a theory that the Middle Passage sped up the process of evolution for Black people specifically. Because normally the weak die off. They call it natural selection or survival of the fittest, right? Normally the people that are not able to make it, I won't even call them weak, but the people that aren't able to make it, they die off. But throughout the Middle Passage, only about 25% of the enslaved people made the journey. You know what I'm saying? And so with that being said, the people that mentally could not make it and jumped overboard, and no shade to them because I understand. You might not have wanted to live your life as a slave or whatever the case may be. And if you jumped overboard because you didn't want to experience that, I'm not downing you because I can't say what I would have done back then. I don't know what I would have done in that situation. But shouts out to the people that were able to make it and stay and were strong and their bodies were able to ingest foreign food. And even though everybody was dying from dysentery, you guys know what dysentery is, right? When you have nonstop, consistent diarrhea and you're so dehydrated that you die. Yeah, that was something that was rampant on those slave ships because they were feeding us food that we weren't used to this nonsense that they was giving us to eat. You feel me? And people had to lay in feces and blood and throw up and all that, knee deep in it the whole time. So that made me understand at a very young age that, we were a very strong, resilient people. And there's nothing else I'd rather be than a Black woman. You mean to tell me I come from these people that survived everything? Everything they tried to put us through? Everything they tried to do to destroy us and it only made us better? Everything that we get into, we dominated. Every sport we get into, we dominated. And just not the sports, the academics. Who's the most known astrophysicist of our time right now? It's Neil deGrasse Tyson, Black man. Anything we get into, we excel at it. You know what I'm saying? Anything that we get involved into. So I didn't have low racial self-esteem. I knew from a very young age that ain't nothing better than being a Black woman, a Black person. You say that if you a Black man, but ain't nothing better, man. Especially when I learned about alleles, dominant and recessive alleles and genotypes and phenotypes and that brown skin and black hair and brown eyes. These are dominant alleles. They're the most equipped for survival genetically. And that two Black people in a room together have more genetic variation than 100 white people. Oh, you couldn't tell me nothing. Yes, being Black is the best thing I could be. And I'm so happy that this is what I am. So yeah, we as Black people, we have to understand that. We're not born in this world with a strike against us. They'll make us think that, oh, being Black is so hard and we're so disadvantaged being a Black person. I wouldn't want to be nothing else than a Black woman. Everything that we are, because they try to make it seem like melanin is just something that's in the skin. Melanin is in the brain. Having an abundance of melanin changes your brain. It changes your eyes, the way your neurons interact with each other. And they'll try to say it's not the same exact kind of melanin. Yeah, it might not be the same exact, but the fact that I have a whole lot of it and it's all in my brain is a reason. There's a reason for all of that. So the point I'm making is yes, we have to, in order for us to stop inviting people to the cookout and stop trying to call everybody Black just because they might have experienced a slight inconvenience when they was little, we have to start understanding the greatness of what we are. And it's not no shade to nobody else to know the reality of what this is. I would implore you guys to go research genetics, go look up genotypes and phenotypes in Gregor Mendel in the Punnett squares and which alleles are dominant and which alleles are recessive. The blue eye gene is a recessive allele, meaning it's a genetic abnormality, a mistake that happens when there's a deficiency somewhere in the body. Back in Jesus' time, they knew that people had leprosy when their hair was pale and their skin was pale. They knew you were healed of leprosy when your skin returned to its normal color and your hair was back black again. You feel me? And this ain't to make nobody else feel bad, but just knowing science and the way that life works. Everything that has color is a sign of health. There's a documentary on Netflix that talks about color in nature. And flamingos are not naturally pink. You guys know that, right? They eat the algae, and the healthiest flamingos have the brightest colors. Things that are colorful are healthy. The healthiest animals have the brightest colors. You guys know I love peacocks, right? I keep some peacock feathers decorated around my room someplace. But the brightest animals, the most colorful animals are the healthiest ones. And it's the same with food too. The brightest, the most colorful fruits are the best for you. I like my fruit like I like my people. Dark. You know what I'm saying? you know. But anyway, I could talk about this all day long. But the point I'm making is this. We need to step up that racial self-esteem and understand that being black is a blessing. It ain't no curse. We ain't no cursed people. And I know a lot of the Hebrew Israelite people will fight me on this, but being black is a wonderful thing. We are beautiful people. We are genetically what everything that we're supposed to be. We are the blueprint, the original man. Everything else is derived from us. You know what I'm saying? And once you know that, you won't be so open to giving it away because you don't know the value of what you are, you know? Let me read some of these comments, then I'm gonna get off the live. Okay. From Downtown 296. Thank you so much for the super chat. He says, Sister Cooking. Thank you. Yeah, I could talk about that all day. You know, I love being a black woman. Oh, it's so wonderful. I really do. It's such a fantastic thing. Anyway, and Alexander McMillan said, making us hate ourselves. Yeah, they really work overtime to make us hate ourselves, you guys. And I'm gonna need for us to understand. We're like that girl in high school that all the other girls are jealous of. I know this is so crazy. It's such a crazy comparison. But all the other girls are jealous of because she real pretty, but she don't know it. That's us. Everybody looking at us and trying to down us like, well, she thinks she all that. She not all that anyway. We actually are. Everybody know it, but we don't know it. We got to start knowing it and walking in it. You know. Um. Let me see. Let me see what the rest of that. Kate and TMT said melanated excellence. Yes. Um. Oloye. I'm just gonna say Oloye. I hope I said that right. It said, "At our worst, we are still better." Yeah, man. Will Justice said, "We lit." Exactly. Like we need to have an understanding of everything that we are. You know. You can't handle the truth. 01 said, "We are naturally more capable and have a well-regulated neural system. Theirs is irregular to natural function slash rhythm." Excuse me. Yeah, no, I don't know all about that, but I do know that someone put it in the comments, neuromelanin. Yeah, it's very important, and having a lot of that in your brain is necessary. And I don't care what nobody got to say. You know, they might say, "Oh, well, it's not the same thing." Yeah, you guys, they've been trying to make us seem like we not what we are for the longest. But, the jig is up. We can already see what it is. Like, we don't even have to look into books and research to just view the way that stuff is. Like, we could look at ourselves and see all the hell that we've been through and we still here and we still resilient, you know? But yes, let me look at some more of these comments. I'm gonna get off the live. Bishop Hambone says surviving abuse and being dominant doesn't mean a damn thing. We are our actions. A pink flamingo doesn't make a good flamingo. Okay, Bishop Hambone, you're wrong. I will say this, a pink flamingo is a good thing. Like the more color that any living thing has, the healthier it is. When you die, you lose your color, and it's just what it is. And surviving abuse and being dominant does mean a lot. Like there are things that happen in people's lives that take them out, and we just not here no more. When you consider our Native American brothers and sisters, there's some Native Americans here, but largely a lot of the tactics that, the colonizers did when they came here worked on them. The Native American gene pool was very clean at the time. They hadn't been introduced to a lot of the diseases like smallpox and the common cold. So the common cold was killing them in droves. just because their bodies had no defense against things of that nature. You know what I'm saying? So being able to survive and being dominant is a major accomplishment. And see, this is that type of thinking that we have to get away from. We have to get away from this type of thinking of always minimizing ourselves. We've been taught so much is it is ingrained in us to minimize ourselves 100% of the time. Okay, well, yeah, we survived, but that don't mean anything. Or, okay, yeah, well, one of us is doing something good, but look at the rest of the community. Or, okay, well, yeah, we might have this about our culture, but look at this aspect. We're the only people that do that. We are our own worst critics and our own worst enemies. Nothing we ever do is good enough for us, which is a problem. Since when has that worked? And I'm not saying we just gloss over the issues that we need to fix within our communities, but since when has berating someone so much to the point where they feel bad about themselves made them better? It never works. You can't do it with children. You can't do it with adults. There is good in us. You know what I'm saying? Someone said he's obviously trolling. Honestly, I don't think so because a lot of us think this way. A lot of us have this ideology that, whatever it is not good enough because look at us today. Look at where we are today. Yeah, look at where we are today in spite of slavery and psychological warfare that is still currently being enacted on us. I just saw a post about how dark skinned models are not like permitted to have long hair. They make them cut their hair. Okay, you're gonna cut your hair? They have to have short hair. But white women and models of other races, they get to have long flowing hair all down their back. Even still to this day, they try to masculize our women. You know what I'm saying? Now, granted, I did cut my hair, but but you know what I'm saying? I look good. But regardless, the point I'm making is this. Even women that didn't want their hair cut, they still had to cut it. You dark skin, you got to cut your hair because we don't want you looking as soft as feminine and these other women. You know, every time I see a TV commercial, I don't ever see a black man and a black woman together, which is one of the reasons why I did like Sinners because Annie and Smoke together, black man and black woman and the type of black woman that you don't often see with a strong love interest, but a black woman that represents what a lot of black women are like now. You know what I'm saying? And so, but I don't see it. Whenever I watch movies and shows and stuff, there's always a white man or some other man with a black woman. We never get to see our families together. I was just watching a video about like, breaking down the movie Gladiator because I love Gladiator. And the person who was commentating said, he felt like Russell Crowe's character was the like epitome of masculinity, right? Of course, this is like a white man or something that's saying this, and how like he was just so secure in himself, and it wasn't about winning or losing or getting the audience on his side. He just had a desire to kill the emperor. You feel me? Because because of everything that happened in the movie, how dirty he had been done by the emperor. And they have movies that they could point to like that. They could point to movies like Gladiator. They could point to movies like Troy. They could point to those kind of movies where these men were portrayed in a positive light and it wasn't nothing weird about them. They weren't criminals or nothing like that. The only time, like the few times that we see our men portrayed in a positive light, everybody talked about Training Day, but Denzel Washington was a criminal in that movie. Everybody talked about American Gangster, but Denzel Washington was a criminal in that movie. You know what I'm saying? So this thing goes a lot deeper than we like to give them credit for. And even now with what I'm gonna talk about with tomorrow's live, because tomorrow's live, I had the thumbnail of Cassie and Diddy, Halle Bailey and DDG, and Tory Lanez and Meg Thee Stallion. And soon as it seemed like this gender war rhetoric was dying out, soon as like people started realizing that these jaded, bitter people with podcast equipment was doing harm to our communities, soon as we started to understand that, and we're rallying behind a movie that was made by a black man, and nobody was trying to pull out um scandals and stuff related to the movie. All of a sudden, now the news cycle is flooded with enough content to keep black men and black women at each other's necks for the next 100 years. There's a lot of things that are orchestrated. I'm not trying to put on my conspiracy theorist hat, but there's a lot going on, and we don't give ourselves enough credit for being able to withstand all of this. The fact that we still like each other at all is a blessing. Deindustrialization came and broke up our households and our communities in the 70s, and we still trying to figure out a way to make it work. I love us. And we gonna come up out of this. And that's probably a good time to end the live. I've been talking for 50 minutes. Okay. Um, Lee, is that what that is? Says salute, beautiful. Thank you so much. I appreciate the super chat and the moderators in here for telling everybody to like the live. Let me look and see. I'm just gonna read some more of what people are talking about. Oh yeah, Bishop, you are definitely a troll. Let me block you. Hide user on this channel. Cause we're not about to play. Bye. Bye, nigga. Remove. Get out of here. Yeah, that's what we do. We don't I'm not going back and forth with like he made a good point initially because that's what a lot of people think. And I did need to address that. But I'm not going back and forth with people that's just dumb. You know what I'm saying? Let me see what else. Some you can't handle the truth said our own people have no idea how significant melanin is in regards to biology, neurology, and spirituality. Very true. You know, very, very true. Um, somebody that I look like a onk look like that you don't have a name, but it says I can tell you've been to LA County um Arboretum. I hope I say that right. I hate reading that word because I feel like I don't pronounce it correctly. In botanical gardens. I love going to botanical gardens. I love it. Yes, I have. You know, especially in the Huntington Botanical Garden. That's one of my favorites. Let me see. Alexander McMillan said black man with black woman is black excellence. You know, you feel me. You know what I'm saying. Ooh, my stomach growling. I haven't eaten yet. It's almost 3 o'clock. Okay. Someone says, Mr. Win-Win says they for sure wage war against the black family unit in media, Disney, Marvel, and Star Trek. Yeah. Like we have to be privy to what's going on. And I'm gonna get heavy into it tomorrow. That's what tomorrow's live is gonna be about because regardless, like I know that stuff is raggedy between, all that's going on with Diddy, Cassie, DDG, Halle Bailey, and Tory Lane's Meg Thee Stallion because it's been everywhere. You can't avoid people talking about this. It's been everywhere. All of a sudden, it's an explosion. And there's so many black men and black women in the comments arguing with each other. That's all I see, arguing. I can't believe black men would think this is acceptable. Because the crazy thing is that, the men that are happy and loving their wives and having families and doing good in life, they're not online talking. You feel me? My man, he don't be online talking, going back and forth with people. We just be having a good ass time. He not just up talking. My brothers, they're married. They don't be online just talking. It's always the loud minority, the bitter, jaded people that's speaking up and skewing everybody's perspective on what's really happening and how people really feel. We didn't learn that from the election. The fact that most black women just knew that Harris was going to win. I knew she wasn't going to win. You know, I knew she wasn't gonna win because I did a road trip over the summer and I went to the South and I'm like, oh, they go crazy for Trump out here. They got Trump mega stores, all sorts of merchandise. Folks had it all over their cars and their windows and stuff. Pins on their lapel, Trump 2025 or 2024 or whatever it was. But a lot of us, we be nestled snug in our echo chamber and we don't realize that we're being fed a narrative that is self-perpetuating and it doesn't showcase the reality of what's going on in the world. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, sometimes we do need to get outside and touch grass. Thank you so much for the super chat. Lee, I think that is L or LLLLI. I really appreciate the super chat though. Thank you. You know what I'm saying? Oh, he said, oh, yeah, you can call me Lee or 52, either name. Oh, okay, I see what that is. Roman numerals. Oh, okay. Okay, well, thank you so much. I appreciate the super chat. Yeah, but that's all. Let me see. Somebody said she said, "My man, I'm out." Yeah, you know what I'm saying? You be treating me good, but I mean, what I do is nobody business. I shouldn't even said that. Lord have mercy. I hate people knowing what's going on in my personal life. But yes, that's the end of the live. I've been talking for an hour. Oh my gosh. Thank you guys for tuning in. I appreciate you so much. Tomorrow I'm going live again, and I'm gonna be talking like it's gonna segue into the end of this live. It's gonna start the beginning of that one. But yeah, that's all I want to say. You feel me? Let's be proud of our culture and who we are, and not be so quick to invite in vampires, literally bloodsuckers. Let's not invite the bloodsuckers into the culture. Okay, they ain't got nothing, no reason to be up in here. And that's all I have to say. Bye. Love you guys. Enjoy the rest of your weekend.